What's going on, athletes? I had my very good friend Izzy Gleicher on the pod to talk about Survivor 50, The Amazing Race, and how chamber music is the gayest form of classical music. I'm your host, Declan Zhang, and this is Gay Sports. Izzy, welcome to Gay Sports. I'm so happy to have you here on the pod. Finally, it's been a long time coming.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like, gay sports is my life, so.
Izzy, I'd love to ask you, what's one recent win and one recent loss that you've had in your life? Recent can be this week or just like in whatever makes the most sense to you. But I like to ask all my guests a recent win and recent loss. I can go first if that helps.
Well, I have my recent loss is that I was pretty disappointed that the Phantom did not win the Unrivaled championship.
Oh, yes, of course.
This year. Now,
that was this week, right?
That was this week. And shout out to Stewie, Stu York. Mm-hmm. We're Liberty fans.
Absolutely.
But I was all in on Phantom and damn, yeah. So
I can't wait to have you back later when the WNBA season is in full swing.
Yeah, well, if they don't strike. So.
Right, if they don't strike. And then what's a recent win you've had, Izzy?
A recent win. Okay, this is
Please.
Good. My recent win is that I have finally discovered the baked potato.
Okay.
And
Love that.
all I want to eat is baked potatoes with butter and sour cream. I made the best chili that's ever existed.
Absolutely.
And we ate it on potatoes we're probably going to get scurvy or something.
Have you seen that? I've seen TikToks of a guy who does the baked potato if it was invented by different cultures around the world, and it's just like little videos of like his the baked potato if it was invented in Italy, and it's like the most ridiculous like pizza-fied like tomato sauce and
with
mozzarella and then with a meatball in it, or like the baked potato if it was invented in India, and it's like he like cuts a samosa in half and like layers it inside the baked potato. That seems like your kind of content.
I might need to ingest that.
For the athletes who are joining us today and listening to the episode, I'd love to introduce my good friend Izzy Lepanto Gleicher.
You nailed it.
I nailed it. Izzy Lepanto Gleicher is a flutist, composer, and visual artist who has been praised by outlets such as the New York Times as excellent, with composer John Zorn calling her inspiring and stunningly musical. She is an artist member of the International Contemporary Ensemble and has performed in such prestigious settings as the Met Gala with Lizzo, NPR's Tiny Desk Concerts, and Lincoln Center, among many more. Izzy has premiered works by composers such as Missy Mazzoli, Natalie Joachim, Du Yoon, and Steve Reich, and her own compositions blend stream of consciousness improvisation with graphic and text notation, bridging her musical and visual practices. An avid educator, Izzy is also a professor of flute at SUNY Purchase Conservatory of Music, and Izzy competed on season 25 of Big Brother, where she was evicted in an 8-1 vote on day 44 wearing a pig costume. Nobody else was wearing a pig costume, and she was evicted sitting next to an empty chair. There was nobody there. She and her wife, Paige, then placed fourth on season 38 of The Amazing Race, becoming the highest-ranking lesbian couple in the show's history. But by far, her most impressive and famous credits include winning season 3.5 of Survivor Bushwick by a single vote and her deep run in The Wheel of Champions, where she made an iconic duo with a certain Asian gay guy whose name rhymes with Schmecklin. And while neither of them walked away with a win, they did walk away with a friendship. Please welcome Izzy Gleicher to Gay Sports.
Wow, yeah, I mean, my win at Survivor Bushwick actually is my most. I carry the keychain with me. Yay! I love the buff. Yay! Shout out to Survivor Bushwick. And I've been on this whole spiel about like hating that the new Survivor breakdown at Final Tribal is two people get votes and one person doesn't.
Totally.
And that like I'm so proud to have only won Survivor Bushwick by one vote because that is all it takes.
In a very close Final Tribal where I think it was you and then my dear friends Dylan and Drew, and I think listening to the jury beforehand, everyone was very split and everyone had very different strong opinions, and I did not know what was going to happen even walking into the voting booth. So congratulations to you on pulling it out on such small margins.
Oh, thank you so much.
Izzy, I first got to know you watching you on Big Brother, obviously. And then I pulled up to our friend Dylan's The Wheel of Champions.
The best game ever.
The best game ever. For those who don't know, it is a one-day live reality game that our friend Dylan Guerra runs. Shout out Dylan. In which there is a wheel that has like Survivor, The Traitors, Top Chef, Big Brother, The Bachelor, any kind of reality competition you can think of.
Games.
And the general structure is Survivor. You're in two teams. You eventually merge. You vote for a winner at the end. But every round, the wheel is spun, and whatever it lands on, that's the structure for that round. So I walked into this apartment in Fort Greene 2 years ago, a year ago, I don't remember, and saw you and was like, oh my God, Izzy's here. That's cool. Then we were put on the same team, and I was like, okay, great. And then I don't know what it was like for you. I feel like I basically accosted you as soon as we had a moment alone, and I was like, so I went to music school, actually, and I'm actually also a chamber musician. Is that your recollection of it as well?
No, well, actually, it's funny because, like, I just love these games. Like, I just happened to be the lucky one that got to do it on TV.
Izzy's a real one, everybody.
But I just like legit love playing these games. So I've played many LRGs since coming back from Big Brother, and it happens every time. Like, of course, right? Because people that play our LRGs watch these shows.
Right.
And so there's always people that recognize me. I'm always having to deal with it. We're preparing for All Stars or whatever.
Right.
So, but Declan actually has been the coolest, like, kind of classiest person to come up to me, like, who, in one of these games, like, recognizing me and everything, so no, I actually have fond memories of our meet cute walking to the park for that first
beautiful
immunity challenge.
I was worried maybe I laid it on a little too thick, but then as the day went on, I was like, oh no, Izzy really does trust me and is working with me, and also was like, wait, I think we're gonna be friends after this.
Yeah, we was vibing.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet, and I'm so glad I got to meet you in such a special context.
Same, me too.
So obviously, Izzy, you were on Big Brother. You were a very iconic member of the cast of season 25 of Big Brother, where you made a lifelong friendship with one Suri Fields, who is currently competing on Survivor 50, and we will certainly talk about that. But then you proceeded to get on and do very, very well in The Amazing Race. And damn those French for cursing you in the final stretch. I think I had seen like a leak or something that you guys had been eliminated in the final leg, like the second to final leg or whatever. And I shot both you and Paige a text that I knew you weren't going to see until you got your phones back. Just being like, I'm so happy for you guys, and I'm so mad for you guys. But what was it like doing that with Paige, your partner, who I'm sure when you were doing Big Brother and stuff was like, this is crazy. Like, what a wild world we're getting into. And suddenly, I think I remember you telling me when you guys were getting ready for Amazing Race that she was starting to really get into it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, when I first, I got a text out of the blue, hey, this is a casting producer.
Yeah.
Should we talk? We should talk,
Right.
And I, of course, immediately looked her up on Instagram and saw that she only cast for Amazing Race. And so I was like, oh no. And so I told Paige, I was like, listen, I don't know what they're going to ask, but it is for sure going to be for the race. And she was like, I don't want to do that. Like, Paige it's so funny. Paige is kind of perfect at these games. I don't think she would describe herself this way, but no, like the wrong one of the household has decided that they want to go all in playing these games because Paige would win us the money, like
does she want to do more
absolutely
shows?
not. No.
Oh, okay,
absolutely
okay.
not. No, nobody out there get their hopes up,
Okay, good.
But then it was like, basically it was, I don't know, became pretty obvious pretty quickly that it was like, okay, we got to take these shots. And when we started preparing for it, I mean, like, we always prepare for these shows. Like, we sort of call our life training,
Right.
That it's always about thinking about relationships and how you're vibing with people and how to get what you want when you need things and, whatever.
Absolutely.
So we're always kind of playing Big Brother or playing Survivor. And we were fans of The Amazing Race. So, like, we had already kind of thought about what we would do, and we just like cared about the preparation. And in the preparation she became like feral, like was so well, if we're gonna do it, then we're gonna fucking do it, and I was like very turned on by that. I loved that. I was like, excellent,
hell yeah, brother.
But I mean, the race is so hard. It is so hard. There's so many variables that you can't
Right.
prepare for
Right.
until you're like actually doing it. And like the adrenaline spikes and come downs are things you can't really prepare for, and so that's crazy. But no, having Paige there was like, I just feel my most successful when I'm with Paige.
Of course.
You know, like we're that type of, it's that type of partnership, you know?
You
So
guys have a very beautiful relationship.
thank you. I mean, we're really proud of it. We're really proud to show that off, you
Yeah.
know? Like, especially this shows, you know, it's like funny because we're so proud to be like the highest ranking lesbian couple. We
Absolutely.
will like carry that badge of honor,
Yep.
you know, so closely. But we're also like kind of devastated by it. You know,
Yeah.
like we want there to be more of us, more of everybody on these shows, you
Totally.
know? So that's super important to us, and that was a driving force just as much as the money.
And you know,
girl, it was the money.
Well, of course, of course. And you know, I tend to I can be kind of a pessimist about like representation and stuff like that, and sometimes when people's like only thing they care about like morally or politically is representation on like reality TV shows or something, I'm just always like, you guys, we could focus our energy elsewhere. There are more important things that actually affect our like lives and healthcare and housing, blah 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 blah. But I cannot obviously deny that I felt a little twinge and an emotion. I mean, obviously you're both my friends, and I like care to see you succeed, and like makes me happy seeing you like embrace each other on TV and kiss and stuff. But especially when we were watching your U-turn episode all together, and just like seeing you guys overcome, and then like the show like not shy away at all from. It's crazy to be talking about this because like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, it'd be like, well, of course they would show the lesbian couple kissing, and now with us having taken steps backward culturally, it was very powerful to see the show celebrate you guys and celebrate your love, and it was just really beautiful.
One of the things we had like made a point to like prepare ourselves for was like, we were like, we're gonna kiss every time we know they have to put this in the edit. Like we were like, we were like so happy with how many we got. We were hoping for like one. We were like, we're just gonna kiss at all these important times, so the one will have to get in.
Right.
But yeah, I guess they were into it. I mean, come on. Hey.
Come on, how could you not be?
Listen.
And outside of being on The Amazing Race, outside of being on Big Brother, outside of being a fan of all these games, the original thing that we bonded over was that we are both musicians, and you are a professional flutist, you're a professor at SUNY Purchase, and you're a very active chamber musician in many groups around the city. When I was in music school, I mean, my favorite thing to do was obviously chamber music. It's so fun. It's such a unique way of connecting with other musicians. But I had a really hard time with, you know, I didn't feel like I wasn't the best at anything. You know, I don't play drum set very well. So like that's sort of a whole path of percussion career that like was closed to me. And then I had a couple bad experiences during music school that sort of like made me really not believe in myself. And I'm only just sort of now coming back around to like, I miss this part of me, and I like want it to be part of my life and want it to be part of something part of my practice as an artist. But I would love to hear from you about like, I think something that turned me off of music school was the like hyper competitive nature of like, there's so few spots, so much is out of your control, and like you're basically in a position of, if you're going the route of doing undergrad, going to grad school, like being a musician in the classical contemporary world, you either have to like go full tilt into committing to trying to get a position at a symphony, which could take you many years of auditions with like it's really out of your hands, or you're working in the like collegiate academic sphere and trying to vie for a teaching position, which is also not the easiest thing to get. And I would love to know, like, before we move on to Survivor and all of that, to hear about the gay sport of trying to be a professional goddamn musician. I feel like we talked about this before, but when did you know that you were like, I'm committing my life, or I'm committing my education to being a flutist and learning to play the flute really fucking well and making a living out of this?
Yeah, I you know, for like a little bit of context, like I actually literally don't have any memories before playing the flute.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
The flute has just like always been a part of my life. I'm not necessarily like, I realize now as an adult, like I'm not necessarily so specifically in love with the instrument, but I fell the instrument just became a mechanism for expression for me.
And you're also a visual artist. You also are a very talented graphic and visual artist.
Yeah, I was like a fun fact for those that know the high school LaGuardia or the Fame School. I got accepted for visual art and music.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it was actually like at that time where I had only ever studied the flute and music, and drawing was what I did at home, like on my downtime, just for like me.
Yep.
And I was always, in some ways, I was more advanced at drawing at a young age than I was at the flute. And I think it was just sort of representative, like, I don't know, I get bored easily, you know, I have ADHD and like I am all over the place, and I think it's like music and visual, like creating with my hands, like having both of those things in my life were really crucial, and like one being really kind of like quote serious and like with a plan, with a teacher, and like with all those things, and one that was just sort of like me just expressing myself. I think that was really important, and it has only been now as an adult that I've figured out a way. I call my composing sort of like the marriage of my visual and musical practices, and it feels very natural. And it's like maybe the most, if I wanted people to remember me as an artist, I think it might be that work, because it is so representative of like all of my artistic interests.
I think it's really important for anyone who's like a professional artist who makes a living doing something creative. You need to have some creative hobby that is kind of like shielded from making money, and is like actually like I taught myself to draw, and I was like a Tumblr fan art kid, and I don't do much of that anymore, but I do have a sketchbook where sometimes I will just like, you know, have coffee in the morning, or I'll bring it to a park, and I'll just like do a still life with, you know, it's a pen, but like still I'll like draw a tree, or I'll like really slowly draw like my mug of coffee sitting on the desk. And I can really get into like, I'm not looking at my phone the whole time, and it's like it feels so nice to do something artistic that is not, you know, as a working artist, you're constantly trying to find a way to turn everything you do into a way to make money, into a way to, you know, for another gig, into a way to get you to stand out amongst the crowd. But it's so important to have those moments where you are just doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's like. That's like a really hard thing for me, you know, like in some ways I regret not just like going down a path where I can have just like a steady job and then I can just like create, you know.
Totally.
I mean, it's like that's not my life, and I love my life and I love my work, to be clear. But it is hard as hell, you know, and I think hard. Like going back to going into this career and like it being competitive, I felt like there's so much expectation also as a female flute player, and talking about gayness and queerness and things. Like growing up, I think maybe one of the reasons I think there are many reasons why it was so hard for me to come out and like realize who I was in my identity, I think was the classical music expectation of what flute players should look like, especially female flute players, you know, and I wasn't any of those things. I had teachers that like really pushed me to wear gowns and kind of forced into piercing my ears so that I could wear more jewelry. And it's like, I'm this person, you know, like I'm butch as hell, and I've known that my whole life, and I fought that my whole life, and I don't know. And so I think I feel lucky because orchestras in a lot of ways are dying, you know, classical music in that way is dying. And I think who I am forced me into chamber music and contemporary music spaces that were like ultimately just more queer, more open, more like you can make a career in any way you want to make it. The lines don't have to be so defined. And so I think like without finding that, I don't know how successful I would have been just like in life, because I don't know if I would have been myself or anything, you know?
Sure. It's really funny that we met through LRG World, Survivor, Traders, Big Brother, etc. But
don't you think musicians, like more artists, should play these games?
Oh my God, of course.
Like it's like literally putting together like a chamber concert is playing Big Brother, you know? It's like you're dealing with everyone that's like trying to, you know, I don't know, present themselves in this fancy way, but also like create something together. And it's like you're dealing with personalities and
the specific chemistry of like, you know, putting together a chamber ensemble is like there's like a magic that can happen when you have the right combination of people who, because you're so I really it's very intimate, because you're like
Yes.
you like sync your heartbeats together, and you start to like telepathically communicate, and sometimes I feel like when you're really locked in with somebody in that kind of musical setting, it's like you can have entire conversations with each other without words, just
Totally.
like in the playing. And there was this one experience I had where in like 2020 I would bring my drum to protests a lot, and I would drum, and I made friends out in the streets of, let's just like, other percussionists who, just because of the nature of like how fucked up things were and how isolated we were from each other, like I didn't have a conversation with a lot of these people for a long time. But specifically I'm thinking about my friend Miles, shout out, who was also a drummer and brought his bass drum to a lot of actions. We would just be at the same things, and slowly, without I think there was a period where like I didn't even know his name yet, but we had played together at the same thing so many times that like I would like recognize the sound of like, oh, that's Miles, ahead of me in the crowd. And there was one night where we were in some protest or march or something, and like the magic was there, and we just kind of like, something happened where we like, I remember specifically like we just like sort of like both knew we were doing like a 4-bar phrase at the same time, and like did like a breakdown and like a come back up and like a bit of a silence, and then like and it was so, I was like, oh my god, I'm a musician. I like forgot that this is like something that I can do and something that's important to me. And that was sort of like a beginning of me, because I left music school, sort of like swore myself off of being a classical musician, and was like really full tilt into being a theater producer. And that was sort of the beginning of like, I miss this and I want this. And recently it's becoming a stronger and stronger urge of I'm a musician, and this is part of what I do, and I want to find a way to fit it back into my life. So meeting you and becoming your friend, and sort of being reminded of that in another way is another thing that I find very special about our relationship. So thank you for being here, Izzy.
Yes.
I think this will be a good moment.
Me and Declan could talk about that all day.
We could talk about that all day. This will be a good time. Let's take a quick break, and then we will be right back to talk all about Survivor 50, Episode 2. And I think Izzy and I have a couple different opinions, which will be really exciting to get into. Athletes, we will be right back after this short break. Gay Sports is proud to present Oscar, a gently competitive black tie Oscars viewing party happening this Sunday, March 15th at Crystal Lake in Williamsburg. We'll have photographers, we'll have prediction ballots, we'll have prizes for those who win, we'll have pre-show trivia before the Oscars stream kicks off, and we will all be getting dressed up to the nines, having a beverage, and cheering on our favorite winners and losers of the Oscars. We've got a couple more early bird discount tickets available. If you'd like to party with us and get some beautiful photos taken of you in your best drag, let's say, I hope you'll check out the link in our bio and get a ticket, and I'll see you on Sunday. Okay, and we're back. Izzy, it's time for us to talk about Survivor, our favorite thing in the world. Episode 2 of season 50, I thought was one of an all-timer pre-merge episode of Survivor, full of wonderful stuff, full of pathos, full of comedy, full of like dense strategic, even though it's ultimately ended up being a unanimous vote, still full of interesting strategic movement and relationships. A couple of people who I would like to see a little bit more of, and I'm a little concerned at how little we're getting of, but anything can happen. Perhaps Tiffany is getting a Genevieve edit, a more classic Genevieve edit. But I would love to just start with something that has just delighted me to no end, which is the Ozzy and Suri of it all. I cried multiple times in the first episode, but starting with Suri's monologue on the boat, being like, this has given me so much, and every time it gives me something new. And then Ozzy being like, I don't care about our history. I'm willing to lay my life down for Suri. Like, Suri's my number one. I'm not budging from that. Really touched me to no end, and just seeing these relationships that have, grown and changed over the course of, at times, decades, paying off in the context of this season has just been so delicious.
I agree. I mean, I agree with that. I'm loving the Suri and Ozzy of it all. Also, I think just on even just playing LRGs, right? Like, I think fans forget that like these people are people, right? And like after you play these games, right, you're part of a network. You're part of a community, and so of course there's so many relationships outside of whatever seasons people have played together. So it's not, people bringing up, the Ozzy and Suri other times they've played.
Sure, right.
It doesn't like really matter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Survivor's so contextual, and in this context, they absolutely need each other. I mean, I was laughing that I was like, oh man, my girl getting this like short end of the stick tribe-wise, just in terms of personality,
right? Right.
And so I'm so grateful that she has Ozzy on her starting tribe, and I mean, I get a lot of flack for working with Suri in some ways and all of this stuff, but it's like Suri is loyal down.
Yes.
Like down hard. That is the brand, and it is because it is her. Like even on Traitors, right? She was never gonna get rid of Andy. Like she's with the people she's with.
Yeah.
And so like Ozzy's right. Every confessional you see of Ozzy being like, I gotta make sure Suri knows that this is real. This is real.
Yeah.
That's real, because if she can feel that, and if it's legit, then you're golden.
No
and Ozzy's smart this season. He needs that, right? He needs her.
Yes, and I'm loving his like, he said in his pregame press that he was like, he's coming as Oscar, and he's really like trying to do something different this time. And it actually really does feel like he sort of has a sort of like a bright-eyed, humble humility about him that
it's like baby's first understanding actually what Survivor is.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
For like 19 and a half seasons, Ozzy's been like fish and win challenge, and he's like, oh right. And so it's very cute seeing him like understand.
Yeah, I mean, like,
what's going on.
I'm terrible at the strategy, and like I'm learning things every day here. This is my 5th time playing Survivor. It's so cute, and I the community seems to be split, but I think Ozzy is sexier than he has ever been in the way he looks right now. I'm like, hi Ozzy, every time he's on screen.
Oh well, I love a real ass person, and like Ozzy looks like a real person. And in preseason, Paige keeps bringing this up at home because it's like very inspiring to her. She's like, Ozzy keeps saying that he doesn't care. He thinks he is in the best shape of his entire life.
Right.
Best shape of ever him playing Survivor.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like a cool thing for us to get to see also.
Yeah, I agree. We opened the episode with Christian Hubicki shitting his pants,
Poor Christian.
which was delightful and the perfect person for this to happen to. From like, I from a standpoint of like, I trust that we'll like get through this sequence that was kind of shockingly long, but not in an unwelcome way from my end. With someone who will be like have the right sense of humor about it, and also like, I don't know. I was just like, I love this show so much. Just like watching this go down. They really took the piss out of him, and he was a really good sport about it. And then it ultimately kind of ends up being relevant strategically when then he later on pretends to be like ill and out of it to pass off this textbook Survivor moment of him and Rick, placing that advantage at the very end of the episode. But we will get to that.
Yeah.
Izzy, who obviously there's one name that I'm sure you will say of like who is exciting you most and someone you're really compelled by on the season. But in addition to Suri, what's exciting you most about Survivor 50 so far?
I think like less so than like single people or something. I am excited about, I was so excited to see on this episode a challenge starting with them running in to the woods and like doing part of the challenge, untying the knots for this snake, and it felt very like nostalgic, like old school Survivor. I have found in the new era that the challenges can get kind of pedantic and like a little bit less original. A lot of things repeated, and I've been enjoying the challenges so far. It feels like a nod to old school Survivor. Where I do think the challenges were better.
Yeah. Totally.
So I've been like enjoying that. I've been enjoying just like any fan, I'm enjoying like Emily Flippin and Suri on a hammock together. It's like I saw a bleat or tweet today, but I don't recognize Twitter. So I saw a bleat today that was the picture of Suri, Devins, and Christian by the water well, and it was like, I am so happy this is a real photo.
Seriously.
So I think it's more that like I'm yeah, the thing I'm so excited by these, like, finally a returning season with, like, from all the eras, you know, so new people are meeting new people, and I think that's very fun.
And where you're really seeing, like, oh my gosh, like, this person was such a golden get for casting when they first got here, and I think the, like, ability of 50 so far for every single moment and scene to feel so dynamic and alive is a testament to the quality of the people they've brought back. I mean, Christian is obviously like a very much a main character of the season so far. In addition to the sequence where he shits his pants, he's like, you know, we're being shown of him being in a pretty strong position, if not the strongest position on that Sela tribe. But I think we're being led to see that he also has like a great relationship with Suri is sort of what I think we're getting. And my impression is that of the like core three that we've been shown, Devins, Emily, and Christian, I think Emily obviously is very clearly like wants to vote for Ozzy, has wanted to vote for Ozzy both times, hasn't gotten her way, and I'm starting to worry about her long-term position if she continues to not get her way. But Christian, I feel like is like on really good terms with Suri, and Suri has really gotten a good relationship going with Christian, and Christian's probably the most invested in trying to maintain that sort of balance of power. And I think Christian is invested in keeping Suri happy and thus keeping Ozzy around. But yeah, it's fascinating. You know, not for 1 second in episode 1 did I think they were going to vote out Suri first. Like, not for a single second did I think that was going to happen. It's completely insane that Jenna. It's one thing, obviously, to be like, I'm wary of Suri and I don't want to work with her long term. Like, totally fair. It's even one thing to like lose the first challenge and throw out her name. That would still be crazy, but whatever. But to be throwing out Suri's name before you've even lost an immunity challenge is just, I just don't have. I'm just like, on what planet do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
But obviously Suri has recovered her position from that unfortunate first episode that was not her fault, and is now in the place where she is getting her way. I mean, I couldn't believe of all the conflicts there and everything that's going on in the tribe. Ultimately, we see that what Suri expressed to camera as her desired outcome is what happened.
Well, and isn't it interesting that we didn't get her fucking perspective the entire time at that beach? No, I'm pissed. No, this is where me and Declan are going to disagree.
Let's do it.
And maybe me and like all the fans is like, I'm so disappointed in the way that they are editing this season. Like, I'm sick of this obsessed with themselves bullshit, right? Survivors,
say more.
Like, I hate the celebrity stuff. I think they are surviving on a beach. They're, you know, the point is that you are at the end of your rope and dirty and disgusting. So I don't like the glamour that is being sprinkled in. I don't like that the opening mat chat was for like old ass dudes and Suri and only Suri talking at the front. Like, yeah, Colby is unwell. Send him home. You know, like, we don't need that anymore.
When Dee said coach is old and dismantled, I was like, dismantled is just an amazing word to use. Keep going.
When Coach got rescued in that boat, I was like, that's a medevac. Like, fucking send his ass home. So, but I also think that, like, I'm loving all the Christian content. Yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
We are getting a singular perspective from all the tribes.
Yeah.
Even when we get glimpses of... Now, I think on this season, they should have stolen Survivor Australia format and done 2 tribes of 12 so that we could actually see half of the people legitimately, you know, instead of a third of them, right? When we go to the other tribes, the losing tribes, we're not getting... The only, like, maybe legit content from a woman we're getting is maybe Aubrey, maybe Genevieve. Yeah. But everyone else, it's just like Chrissy's getting a we're making fun of Chrissy segment. Right. We're getting a D making fun of men segment, which I think is feminism. And D is feminism, to be clear.
Of course.
But back at the losing tribes, you know, beach, Suri has... This is not the bias in there. Like, the way they're trying to set up the surprise of what the vote is, every single time Suri has gotten her way. Yeah. I think what really happened on this episode was that the real vote was between Savannah and Joe.
Yeah.
And they had to sprinkle in, obviously, Emily trying to get Ozzy in. I would want more content from Emily.
Yes.
How are we not hearing from Emily? She's the only one like spitting out a different name or trying to get people to do something else. I don't believe for 1 second that Rick and Christian are making the final decision on that beach. Sari and Emily Flippin. Emily Flippin is in the middle of that whole goddamn thing.
I completely agree.
And we didn't hear one goddamn thing from her.
I agree.
And that's killing me. And they show, part of me thinks the hammock talk was the last conversation
that would make
Tribal,
a lot of
because
sense.
you're telling me that wasn't a finalizing conversation after Sari had gone to work planting
with
seeds
everybody else.
all day.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
And she just had to get Emily to be on board with her.
So,
right.
So I think like
that would make
I
a lot
don't
of
think
sense.
the thing that people want to see on Survivor is people play Survivor. I don't care if I'm surprised at the vote. Like, I don't give a shit if I'm surprised at the vote. I want to see people getting like how that is sprinkling down. When you get a unanimous vote after Savannah, after how they edited that beach, and we don't get any we get one confessional from Sari, is crazy.
I'm expecting the next episode to open with like
an apology.
I want to see how did it move off of Joe or like this Joe and Devin's conflict, which according to Savannah's postgame interview was a much bigger fight than we even saw.
Right, show us.
But
also like I would love to. I don't know this. Listen, I know all the things that happen on 50, but I don't know this for sure. I know that Sari was thinking, oh, those dumbasses are fighting. Right. Oh, there's no way Joe's going home.
Absolutely. Of
there's
course.
No way. Keep that motherfucker here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, wouldn't you want to see that?
Yeah.
Because like, of course, I would want Joe off that beach.
Right.
I would be so on that train.
Watching Rick and Joe have that fight, I was really thinking about you. I am glad. I'll give the show a little bit more credit here than you. I am glad that the show was pretty unafraid to make Joe look like an absolute buffoon. From everyone being like, "This is so frustrating." Sari being like, "Oh, someone lied to you on Survivor."
Boo-hoo.
And just like the faces that Devins was making while Joe's like, "Well, the most important thing that I have is trust in this game," and Devin's being like, "Oh my fucking god."
I know.
And I was thinking about you because I was like, I know Izzy could not stand this at all.
But yeah, and I also think I'll just say as my blanket thing that maybe people disagree with or whatever.
Okay.
I feel like on the same vein of like men finally catching up to what Survivor is. There was a point when Jeff Probst also learned what Survivor was, and you know what? Stop explaining what we just saw. Stop explaining it. Because guess what? Colby didn't understand before you explained it.
Yeah.
And now Colby might know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that he's like, that he has something to say at every single point and is like inserting himself and also giving away info about people. Like, just because you've been technically everyone on that beach had the capability of seeing your season of Survivor does not mean they know what you did or watched that season of Survivor.
Right,
why are you telling anyone anything about anything in a public setting? That's bullshit to me. That's getting in the way of the game. Like, that's inserting yourself in the game, and I want him to stop.
I think that's fair.
I can't stand it.
I think that's fair.
So that's all. That's my blanket things. I got them out of the way. We can get back to that episode.
No. That's what I Izzy, if you think that I didn't invite you to come on to the Gay Sports to give the Izzy, unfiltered Izzy opinions, you're dead mistaken.
And I want more queer people. God damn it. Yeah. Anyway,
that is the Sela tribe. Savannah goes. She's obviously a very intense player, and I've at times not known how to connect with her, and I was watching her in 49. I was like, I understand why she's brought back. But I never quite felt like I really got her. And in this monologue that she has at Tribal, where she kind of pours her heart out, I finally was like, oh, like I empathized with her finally in a real way. Where for me, I think I was like, I think I've said before, we've said before on this podcast that she has a bit of serial killer energy in the game context. The character Savannah, as edited by Survivor, in the context of playing a game of deception and backstabbing, has a bit of a serial killer energy. And I think in 49, she was sort of able to bulldoze some of the players that she was with. And sort of like club them into submission into going along with her. And I think we knew that was not going to fly in 50, and certainly not with the being on a tribe with Suri. But in this speech that she gives, I really felt myself being like, you cannot help but try your hardest at every single moment, even in just having like a casual conversation with somebody. And I actually finally was like, I am starting to get you and see a bit of myself in you. And then how delicious is it that they all voted her out anyway? I mean, that's Survivor, baby. Survivor.
I loved it. I'm so glad she got voted out.
Yeah, I mean, I would have, I mean, obviously, I would have happily lost Joe, but I understand why, after all that, it's much more advantageous for Suri and Ozzy to have managed to get the vote onto Savannah. And of anybody else, we saw her, she won, she just won, she got $1 million, you know, good for you, Savannah. I didn't need to see her go far, but I did find myself actually moved by her speech at Tribal. That is the Sela tribe. The other two tribes, of course, have not gone to Tribal Council yet. As you said, we're seeing this girl so confusing dynamic beginning with Genevieve and Aubrey. I am such an Aubrey stan.
Me too.
Huge,
huge diehard Aubrey stan. And I thought Michelle won, but I also thought Aubrey won.
No, absolutely. I mean,
I respect Michelle, actually.
Absolutely. I fucking love Michelle.
Aubrey. Yeah, I love Aubrey.
No, and that was the first we both got into Survivor, I think, like pretty late in the game. I started watching in 2020, I think.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, right. And you know, I consumed Survivor ferociously, and the first time, and this is because the show wanted everybody to have this reaction, which is unfair to Michelle. There was the first time where I watched the final votes come in, and I was like, wow, I really disagree with what just happened here.
Me too.
Of
when
all
I
the
first watched it,
yeah.
Absolutely, me too.
Absolutely. And then what turned me around, and again, that is, I'm a big Michelle stan now, and the show, the reason that I had that reaction, and the reason why so many fans had that reaction, is because Aubrey is an amazing player, and like we all see a lot of ourselves in her, and because the show didn't really give Michelle her flowers in the way the season was edited and presented to us. And then Michelle's pre-game interview for Winners at War completely made me do a 180, where she was like, a lot of people are going to come into this interview and say they have nothing to prove, that they've already won, that they like are just here to really enjoy the experience. I have something to prove. I know I have something to prove. People reacted really badly to my season, and I do have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm hungry for it, and I'm here to prove why I won Survivor the first time. And I'm honestly not even really doing it justice. It was a really beautiful and powerful statement of like ferocity. That
Athletes,
really made me
watch her play the challenge. You'll understand why Michelle is so good at these games.
She's so good.
Yeah.
And so we need to start this by giving Michelle her flowers.
Yes.
But
let's talk about
Aubrey's
Aubrey.
the one.
Let's talk about Aubrey.
Aubrey's the one, and I was really high on Aubrey. I still am high on Aubrey. I still have hope. She's got an idol in her pocket. When she opened it up, and I cried when Christian went Godspeed Aubrey Bracco. I was just like, that is a man right there. The best person for me personally to get this free idol. I wish I should have known before the season. I was like, of course Genevieve and Aubrey are not going to get along. Like,
Is Genevieve able to play a season of Survivor without having this like intense female op, you know? Which I think is very hot. I think the tension between Genevieve and Aubrey is very hot.
No, that first conversation in episode 1 where
I was like, Aubrey, okay, mom,
Aubrey wasn't doing herself any favors. She was like, yeah, I just don't know if I can trust you. And they're just like staring at each other, like pointing guns in each other's faces. I was incredible. Like, this is what it's all about, baby.
But yeah, when Aubrey got that idol and from Christian and what she said about just feeling like, oh wow, there's someone's
looking out for me.
Someone's looking out for me. Oh my God, that just felt so.
Seriously.
I just felt like so relatable in these games. Like I feel like after playing Big Brother, I understood Aubrey as a player and a person in these games more so, because I finally actually felt what makes her seem kind of like a tragic, panicky, hot mess pre-merge, like every season, because it's like really scary and
it's
and being of certain archetypes.
Yeah.
People are less. they're less inviting.
Yeah,
you know,
totally,
and so
totally.
I get it, and
less willing to extend an olive branch to you.
But she's in a position that is pretty normal for her on Survivor currently. So
and you know, one time it didn't go that well for her. 2 other times it went pretty well for her, you guys. So I think we can. I think we can have a little bit more faith in our girl. And ultimately, you know, the community is split. But if it's the Genevieve versus Aubrey wars, I'm
Aubrey all day. I'm sorry, I'm Aubrey all day.
I'm enlisting on the side of Aubrey.
Yeah.
All my love to Jen. And Jen, she's got like 5 different Republicans in her pocket. She's gonna be fine. And I love that for her. Let me be clear.
Call them out.
I love that for her. And I think on this, they're about to swap, and I think Genevieve and Aubrey are still together on the same swap tribe. So that is gonna be. I hope they can. I really want
work
them
it
to
out
figure
on
something
the
out.
remix.
I hope they can work it out on the remix. But I worry if they go to tribal, I'm just gonna be sort of psychically being like, Aubrey, I hope your trauma from Edge of Extinction is so strong that you, even no matter what you think is happening, you play that idol for yourself.
That's right.
I think you're in a bad spot.
She has to. It's in the rules.
Well, I hope we don't try to hold on to it for merge or whatever. We mentioned earlier we get this Dodo segment about Chrissy, who going in was my winner pick, and I don't know about winner now. I still have hope that Chrissy could have a deep run. I'm a big Chrissy fan. I'm really, really happy that they invited her back, and I'm hoping we get a little bit more from her strategically. I'm hoping we can get a little bit more from a lot of women on the cast strategically. I was surprised that we got like barely a confessional from Camilla after the Kyle medevac. Like I want to see Camilla.
Oh my God! If you're a man, shut the fuck up. You know, like I'm itching for like any other perspective, even like from the other tribe. I forget the names. I never remember, but we get this whole segment of Q once again being all macho and they're lazy and I'm doing everything right. And it's like, we don't need that story. Like, I know people are like, oh my God, I'm so happy there's a toxic male talking about how people are lazy. We are so back. And I'm like, we never needed that. Yeah. Like, I would have loved to see
even Stephanie give that confession. Even if that's the storyline we're going with Rizzo, like I'm sure Stephanie has an opinion.
Just anyone, you know, like just anyone else. Don't you want to see the potential bond that I know we're all hoping really forming between Dee, Tiff, and Camilla? Right. Like, let's see that trio.
I think Tiff and Camilla have both had 2 confessionals over the first 2 episodes.
It's embarrassing.
What are we talking about? Those are the 2 where I'm hoping like this is a Genevieve 47 edit where like they're just quiet right now and then they like have a big arc coming up later. I think going into the season, Tiffany had an amazing position, being recognized by everybody, including herself, I'm sure, as like sort of a dark horse, unexpected pick for 50. But like her reputation just being she was loyal to Tiffany, she was loyal to Kenzie, and she put up with working with Q. Like she's a resilient alliance member. She isn't going to turn on you at the first opportunity. Totally. And I think she's in a great spot on that tribe. I don't remember where she lands in the swap that I saw, but
I don't remember either.
I'm hopeful we get a little bit more Tiffany. And yeah, I don't know why. I'm sure Camilla must have given a confessional being like, man, I did not want to play this season with Kyle, and I am now so heartbroken that this is what's happened. That like this isn't what I didn't want this to happen to him. But it is probably ultimately better for Camilla. I mean, certainly. Yeah. But I want to see the the moral, emotional conflict of like.
I want to see people having their realizations.
Yeah.
Like those are interesting. Like I know that, God forbid, nuance seep into reality TV, but it's like that's what. I love when people change their mind. Yeah. Right. And I want to see people change their mind in the edit, and we're not getting a lot of that. Like, when did they change their mind to be on board with Savannah?
Right. Exactly. And I think what you said is really apt about, excuse me, like I don't need to be surprised at Tribal every time. I want to see, the most interesting thing is the important conversations where the thing, and I understand from a TV perspective why.
But you can still leave it on a cliffhanger and at least show us the means for the reasoning for everyone else. Yeah, right. To like think about Savannah. Right. Because we only got that from Emily and like that was it, you know.
Yeah.
So
and then when you get all this the Joe and Rick stuff that sort of takes over, and then it ended. I was very surprised that it ended up being Savannah anyway. And I mean the what's nice about Big Brother is that for the real ones, we do get to know all of the different conversations that went into a decision, even if the show is criminally disinterested in showing us.
I know, but if you're a gamer, then really watch the live feeds because Big
Yeah.
Brother is exceptional. You just gotta
it's,
watch the TV show. Sorry.
it's so great if you don't watch a single second of the actual
if you
TV
just
show.
watch the live feeds, Big Brother is like high art.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. When it's good. I mean,
So good.
I am long on record of like Survivor's my favorite thing in the world. You know, I want to be on Survivor more than I want to be on any of these other shows we're talking about. But when Big Brother is good, when Big Brother is really good and hot, and like the Twitter is ablaze with like what's going on in the feeds right now, there is nothing. I'm like texting my best friend Trevor, being like, "You see what's going on right now? Do you see what they're saying? Turn on. It's really special. Yeah, Survivor. We've got some notes for you guys, but I think ultimately I'm a little higher on how the show's doing this than Izzy. Who have we not talked about? Is there anybody else that
we could talk about how Jonathan, you know, just because you think that you know if your strategy is to still do the same strategy, then everyone thinks you're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to shit on him a little bit.
Yeah, let's
get him off my screen too.
Yeah, I'm what could he possibly do differently? I'm open to being surprised. I as a, you know,
I'm not.
You know who did surprise me in pregame was Colby. I found myself actually quite charmed by his interview before the game. He can go whenever. I'm ultimately not very attached, especially if Jerry's not here. But I did ultimately find him kind of charming in his pregame interview. And we've seen a little bit of him and Rizzo thing. Oh, I don't know. What is your take on Rizzo? I'm actually kind of a big fan and becoming more of a fan. I'm so sorry.
I know. It's like, listen, no knocking him. I've hung out with Rizzo, you know. Like in these games, it's like
he would not play with this kind of.
I can't with the unbacked ego, you know. Like I don't get it. Like stop talking like I don't know. And I felt it so uncharming. Him being like, well, on 49, all I did was like fucking sit down and it's like I'm not on like. You know,
work.
I don't give a shit about that. But I just mean the only people that you could be socializing and quote from Rizzo playing Survivor with are currently down at the beach.
Right.
So like, go there. You know, like I don't know. I just think he's just like a little boy. Sorry.
But I think he is a little boy. But he knows that he's a little boy.
He's like a little rat.
Yeah,
you know,
he is.
And I don't think he's profound. He thinks he's profound.
Totally,
and I hate a little boy that thinks he's profound. You know, like that is my ick, you know, and so
totally.
I'm struggling with that. I also just don't think anyone for 49, whatever, we don't have to shit on casting, whatever, they're there. I think the 49ers were put in a psychologically shitty position 2 weeks ago.
Of course
they were playing 49.
Of course they're gonna say yes. They like are not, they're not even around, like they haven't had a single I just
like, you know, I'm trying to also, you know.
Yes, of course. I'm
trying to remind myself that too. But
I was sort of won over by Rizzo over the course of 49, and I am kind of becoming the camp of like the kid does have something. He does have some riz. He does have something in there.
Only because people let people like it's like the Rob Roush bullshit. You're like, you know? It's like
and then we haven't even talked about criminally under-edited Angelina. Where is Angelina?
Well,
what's going on with Angelina?
They have to figure out a way to like let us in on strategy on the winning tribes because it's happening, but they seem to think that strategy only happens the minute you lose immunity, and so we're just not getting enough content. We're just, we're not
they have 90-minute episodes. Like
I still feel like we're getting less content in new era 90 minutes than we were in old school Survivor, you know? Which is like, why is that, you know?
Yeah.
I feel that way about Big Brother too. I mean, old episodes of Big Brother are edited way better than they are now.
Way better.
So I don't really get that.
Yeah, I sometimes I don't understand sometimes I don't understand the editors. More so I feel this way with Big Brother than I do with Survivor, but sometimes I'm just like, do you guys know what show you're working on?
Yeah, no,
do you know what's going on? Because sometimes it feels like we know what's going on better than you do. And then we have to talk about this. We end the episode of Survivor with this Christian and Devin's beautiful.
It wouldn't be a season with Devins if we
Please.
didn't have a little.
And Devins is really.
idleness.
I was like, you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Devins. I was like, this guy's entertaining. He's, you know, doing all the things. He's a great player. Great. But I feel like he's really proving himself, not just as a strategic force. Obviously, he's done that this episode, but also, like I said earlier, as a character of him being sort of pretty unfiltered with Joe. I'm really finding myself charmed by Devins and seeing myself as a gamer reflected back at me in his hunger for the game. And
Absolutely.
This beautifully orchestrated move by him and Christian as another one for the books. I was so proud of both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be fun. You know, I mean, like, those are the, like, fun moments,
Yeah.
you know? Like, that's, like, you know, someone deciding to dunk and, like, doing a trick out of it. You know, it's just
right,
like,
right.
I'm going to do a windmill.
Like,
you know, whatever.
Put a little twist on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like... I mean, in some ways, I'm just like hoping that it's going to get one of them in trouble because it's just like I think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But no, I mean, I think that's fun, and it seems, I don't know. Yeah, the vibes at that tribe seem ultimately like good. You know, like
Even with this Joe thing.
well, with even the Joe thing, because I think like they're ultimately making fun of him, which
that's
is
true,
fun.
that's true.
Like you know, nothing bonds people
no
together.
one's on Joe's
than,
side
like,
of
yeah,
this
exactly,
argument.
and I think that can be like a sort of relieving element. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Izzy, who is going to win Survivor 50?
Surrey Fields.
Hell yeah. I think even though he is really on his back foot right now, I was saying Chrissy preseason. It's not looking that great for Chrissy right now. I think if Ozzy can maybe do a little bit better at this swap tribe in terms of like making relationships, I think honestly Ozzy can be in a really good spot with an idleness pocket and an actual loyalty in Surrey. And you know, when it gets down to the wire, it's hard to say if Ozzy's like killing it in challenges and people are scared of him, they might just go for Ozzy. But you know, if Ozzy and Surrey are both in the final like 7 or 6, I think there's totally a world where people are like, well, we should just turn on Surrey now before it's too late. And like Ozzy manages to squeeze by. If he still doesn't, I don't know. I'm higher on Ozzy than most. And obviously, I would be so thrilled and find it so beautiful if Surrey manages to make it to the end, as anybody.
She's got a hard road ahead of her.
She's got a hard road ahead of her. But if anybody can do it, Izzy, thank you so much for coming on to Gay Sports and lending all of your thoughts and feelings and opinions on Survivor, on The Amazing Race, and on chamber music. I'm so happy I got to bring you in and talk to you.
Same. I loved this. Love gay sports. Love gay people.
Hell yeah.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Iran.
And abolish ICE.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Gay Sports. I've been your host, Declan Zhang. This has been my friend Izzy Gleicher, and you have been you. I hope to see you at our Oscars watch party next Sunday. Oscar. We'll have photographers. I just ordered a step and repeat with Gay Sports logo all over it. We'll have prediction ballots for you to fill out. We'll have little Gay Sports stickers. Our early bird admission tickets are about to sell out, so snap those up before they're gone. And if not, you'll have to buy the regular general admission ticket. And I hope you guys are all staying sporty and dry as we finally head into the beginning of spring in New York City with daylight savings starting this weekend or ending this weekend, or I don't remember whether it's on or off. But anyway, we're springing forward, and the sun is not going to set before 6 p.m. for 10 months.
Oh, we need it.
Thank God. 7 months. Sorry, I did my math wrong. 7 months. Thank God we need it. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Izzy, for joining me, and have a good night, everybody. Gay Sports is a podcast and internet talk show for the athlete in us all, created and hosted by Declan Zhang. Gay Sports is recorded at BRIC, Brooklyn. Our theme music is by Kyle Brett. You can get tickets to Oscar, our Oscar viewing party on Sunday, March 15th at the link in our bio. Stay sporty.